Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the South Carolina Gamecocks Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 25 as the 2029 season kicks off today. But it's week 0, so not everybody is playing, so we're going to use this time to take one last look at the team a little bit, specifically who we are going to be targeting early on in the recruiting cycle. I like to look at the recruits a couple of times throughout the season. So today I'm going to show you the players I will be targeting in the early portions of the season, as well as go through some of the week 0 games. There's only, I think, 4 on the docket and set the stage for week number 1. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. So we don't play in week 0, so let's go ahead and look at the recruiting. The only big game this week is Navy versus number 3 Notre Dame, which will get that score at the end of the week. Let's take a look at the recruits that we are going to be focusing on. Remember, we're coming off a number 1 ranked class in the country. So how do we get that for an encore? Well, here are the players we're going to be targeting. We're going to go through the ones that I'm putting points into early. Starting off with the guy who's getting the max points, the only 5-star this year on the board. We had 6 5-stars last year. This year we're targeting 1, defensive tackle Ty Pettis from Grace Christian Academy in Covington, Georgia. Funny enough, another 5-star on defense. We've never actually recruited a 5-star on offense, but Ty Pettis is the speed rushing defensive tackle, and he is a stud. You can see the gym. 88 finesse mood, 88 tackle. This guy would be an absolute beast to have on defense. The only thing is, of course, being in the Southeast and being a 5-star, he's getting a lot of interest from all the other big schools. Auburn, Georgia, NC State, Florida State, all giving scholarships. This is going to be a tough battle, but we're going to stay in this one as long as we can because Ty Pettis is the kind of guy that can be an absolute game changer. And his deal breaker is proximity to home, so we actually do get that. Then we'll go into the 4-stars. The top 4-star on my board currently is Jimmy Crocker, a defensive end from Cordova High School in Tennessee. 6'5", 235, a speed rusher, and he's also a gem with 85 finesse moves. I look at a player like Jimmy Crocker, and I immediately look at Unbena Onwuka, who was like I've said, the record for sacks with this team, and I think Jimmy Crocker can do just that. Again, it's not going to be easy. Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arkansas State have all given scholarships to Jimmy Crocker. We're currently in 4th, but we did climb a couple of spots. So hopefully we can continue that climb up the top. It's going to be hard to pull him away, specifically, in my opinion, I think, from his home state of Tennessee, because his deal breaker is also proximity to home. Next up, we'll have on the offensive side for the first time, right tackle Jeremy Ring from Christ School in Arden, North Carolina. He's a power blocker at tackle. Remember, this year we lost both of our starting tackles, so we need to rebuild a little bit there. And you can see the power trace and the strength. It's really good. But not only that, he has good base blocking stats. 77 pass and run. I think he's a very good lineman who can start early in his career. Currently, it's going to be hard to pull him away from in-state schools, NC State, North Carolina, but you also got Clemson and Virginia Tech threatening for Jeremy Ring. Wide receiver Derek Beck is up next from Indian Trail High School in Indian Trail, North Carolina. We're targeting a lot of smaller school guys, and Beck is an interesting one because right now we're listed in 8th, but this was the week we offered him a scholarship. We didn't offer him a scholarship in the preseason, and I'm glad we did because this guy has 99 speed. You know how I like my 99 speed guys. You got to win the deep ball. But not only that, he's got good deep route running. We don't know his release. Well, actually, we do. It's a 75, which is not bad. And he's also got 85 spec catch, so if he doesn't beat you deep, he can go up and get the tough catches. So Derek Beck is a really good wide receiver, in my opinion. Looks like we're going to be battling North Carolina, NC State, and UCF for Derek Beck. Rounding out our top 5 is the linebacker Sam Hufanga, another gem. This guy from Pensacola High School in Florida, so going to the Sunshine State for the first time, and that state that's rich of recruits. He is a great middle linebacker, in my opinion. 75 zone covers, 93 speed. He can fly sideline to sideline. He can cover. He's got pretty good awareness and play rec off the rip. 80 pursuit, so he can get to the halfback as well with 85 tackle. This guy looks like a guy, in my opinion, that's going to get 100 tackles per season. Maybe like a Bryce Reeves, captain of the defense type of player. Currently in 2nd place behind Auburn, but also you got to worry about Georgia Tech, Florida, UCF as well. And if Georgia offers a scholarship, watch out for them. Another offensive lineman, left tackle Brenton York, is up next from Central High School in Carlton, Georgia, and he has a ton of scholarship offers. Georgia, NC State, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Clemson, UCF, Virginia, just to name 9. Essentially every school in the Southeast is giving Brenton York a scholarship, and for good reason. He's got very good power block stats, and like Ring earlier, has good base block stats as well. I like Ring a little bit better than York, but York is right up there in terms of a good player. It's just going to be hard to pull him away from in-state Georgia. Georgia really wants him. I think that's where Brenton York's going to go. Up next, we have our first athlete, Amani Omenahu, who is more of a defensive lineman at 6', 224. Maybe could play some linebacker off the edge as well. And this is the first guy we actually out in first place. Right now it's just us in Tennessee offering scholarships. The Vols are making up some ground, so we do have to hold them off. But I like him a lot because he has good zone coverage, he has good speed, and he's labeled as a run stopper with 76 block shedding. So I think he's actually a little bit more diverse than just being able to be a run stopper. He can cover as well. And I like that versatility. I think Amani Omenahu would be very good on the defensive side of the football. The only thing I worry about is that pro potential deal breaker. We need a B- right now. We have a B. I'd hate to get him and then him transfer out. Up next, Deacon Hajrulahu, which if you remember that last name, we had his cousin at one point on the team, or halfback John Hajrulahu, before he transferred out. Deacon is from Heritage High School in Wake Forest, North Carolina, being recruited heavily by North Carolina, Duke, NC State, as well as Virginia. And he's a good wide receiver, good deep threat as well. 94 speed, 78 deep route running, 85 spec catch. Again, he's got better release than Beck, but not as fast. Again, another guy who I think can stretch the field and get behind the defense. Plus, we've had his cousin before, so it'd be kind of cool to keep the Hajrulahu family in the Gamecock garnet and black. Number 9 is the right guard, Victor Hogue. I know we recruited a lot of right guards this past season, but Hogue is a guy that wants to come here, and he's a gem. And why not? From Hartselle High School in Alabama, another small-town guy, 6'1", 297. He's a good pass blocker through and through. Run blocking is not as good. You can see it's low at a 63, which, you know, is a little concerning, but I do prefer the pass blocking in my opinion. And it's only us in Jacksonville State that's currently offering him a contract, or a scholarship, excuse me. So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to get Victor Hogue. Rounding out the top 10 is another athlete, Rylan Scasia from Kings Mountain High School. He is a halfback, as he's listed as an elusive back, a 6', 205. North Carolina is firmly out in front, though, so we got to worry about them, but also NC State, Duke, Virginia Tech. This one might be an uphill battle, but he's a gem. He's got good speed. You know, Wade Man is a junior, so we do got to start thinking about his replacement at some point. I think Scasia would be a good halfback. Just might be a little hard. He's actually also the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina, so you know those North Carolina schools at the top are going to want to keep him there. At number 11, we have Terrell Benshaw, another wide receiver. He is from Cambridge High School in Alpharetta, Georgia. A small guy at only 5'8", 186. He is a spark plug, though, and he can run some good routes. You know, he's not going to win with his size, and Benshaw knows that, so he sticks to the technique. You know, he's got good route running, got good agility. He's got a good, decent bit of speed. Just needs to work his hands a little bit, in my opinion, but he's currently out favoring us ahead of Clemson, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, UAB. Also seems like he has grown up a Georgia Bulldogs fan, though. He has them in the top 5 despite not offering a scholarship. So we just got to hope that the Dogs don't offer Benshaw a deal. Number 12, we have Trey Kamazi, a left end from North Palm Beach High School in Florida, going back to the Sunshine State, which makes sense because the only other schools who've offered a scholarship are Miami, Florida State, and Florida. And he is a gem, good run stopper at 6'5", 256. Got good speed, got good hit power. He can block shed. Definitely an early down defensive lineman. Number 13, we get to the corners, which we lost 4 to 5 this offseason, so we need to retool. We got a couple of freshmen, but it never helps to add some more because we're going to lose Malik Asante this offseason as well. The first cornerback up is Keegan O'Dowd from Forest Lake Academy in Orlando, Florida. And it's currently a 2-team race right now between us and Miami. Don't sleep on Florida and UCF. We did make up some ground on the Hurricanes, but he might be a tough one to beat. He is a man corner. He says he plays the slot, but he's very more well-diverse in the man coverage. That's 79 man. Good speed, too, with 95 man. And he's got pretty good play rec and change of direction for a freshman as well. The other one is Nate McCaleb, who's also listed as a slot corner. He is from Alabaster, Alabama, specifically Thompson High School, and currently has us out in front. He did grow up an Auburn fan, though, which is why he's got Auburn in his top 5. Also going with Tulane and Jacksonville State. So we're the only Power 4 conference that offered him a scholarship. Just got to hope that Alabama or Auburn doesn't get in the ranks. Also more of a man corner, 76. I think he's a little bit lower than O'Dowd in my opinion, but they are both very good defensive backs. Number 15's athlete Pat Cameron. He is more of a wide receiver at 6'3", 197. Currently attending Pinson Valley High School, which is where a couple of big names came from. Kool-Aid McKinstry came from that high school, as well as Bo Nix. His recruiting is kind of all over the place right now. We've offered a scholarship this week. There's also Ole Miss and UAB that are in the mix. Doesn't seem like he's entertaining the Blazer offer that much, so it might just be us versus Ole Miss if we can get into this race. But I like his hands. He's got very good hands. He's a physical guy. Can win those tough catches. Also can get off the line very well. I know we throw a lot of deep balls, but it's good to have those underneath guys. I think Pat Cameron could be a good, outside wide receiver and free up some of those lanes and make those tough catches when need be. Getting back to the defensive side of the football, Alpha Friend, a linebacker from Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia, heavily favoring the Dogs, but he's also got scholarships from North Carolina, Louisville, UAB, and Vanderbilt. It's going to be hard to pull him away, though, from Georgia. He's got good power moves, good speed, good strength. Definitely a hand-in-the-dirt kind of linebacker, though. If he played in our defense, he would be probably that Nate Lamb kind of stand-up on the line of scrimmage type of player if we were to get off a Friend. Then I'm offering just a couple of points into these next few guys. Richard Sines first, the left end from Hopewell High School out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We've gone there quite a few times in our recruiting cycle. All the North Carolina teams out in front, NC State, Duke. They also have Clemson, North Carolina, and Tennessee all offering scholarships. He is a run stopper through and through with that 85 strength, 82 block shed, and 78 hit power. More of an early down lineman. Also the second best player in the state of North Carolina. Number 18, Ashton Overhauser, another right guard. He is labeled as a bust from Duncan High School, the first guy we're actually looking at from the state of South Carolina. And although he's a bust, though, I do like his traits. He's got 88 strength. He's got good finesse. He's got decent starting stats for pass and run, those base level traits. So even though he's a bust, I think he's a good player. North Carolina's out in front. I think we can catch the Tar Heels, though. Tennessee, Appalachian State also giving offers. Next up, D. Foxworth, another athlete, but he is a all offensive lineman. As you can see, his tendency is agile. Also from South Carolina, he attends Blythewood High School, which is where former Gamecock halfback Brandon Wilds actually came from. 6'3", 290. We're heavily out in front of this one, despite Tennessee and Virginia also giving deals. He is a finesse blocker, though. Again, though, pretty decent base stats. 76 pass block, 73 run block. If you can keep those base stats and be good in some regard, that usually draws me to you. The penultimate player we'll talk about is Dwayne Standback, a linebacker from D.H. Conley High School in Greenville, North Carolina. NC State is out in front. Clemson, Tennessee, and North Carolina all ahead of us. I like Dwayne Standback. He is a coverage linebacker with that 77 zone coverage that immediately will draw my attention to you. He can play the nickel. He can cover the middle of the field and be that late down linebacker. Final guy we'll talk about is left guard John Anger from Lee County High School in Sanford, North Carolina. NC State looking to close the deal on this one early. North Carolina's there as well. Duke, Charlotte, and Virginia. He's got good power stats, in my opinion. Again, good base stats, 78 lead, 75 run. I don't know his pass blocking, which is a little concerning, but I like the sort of traits that he shows. So that's 21 players that we're going to target early on in this cycle. Let me know in the comment section what you think is the best player and who you think we should be aggressive for early. So for the rest of the episode, we'll go through week 0 and see what happens and set the stage for our first game of the season. We've reached week number 1. Here's the top stories. We'll see at number 10, Texas face number 24, Pittsburgh this week in a big opening season clash. Georgia faces Cal. The defending champs start the season on the road across the country against the Golden Bears, who were a good team in the ACC last season. We'll see number 12, Utah, number 13, Kansas, week 1. That's a huge, probably the biggest conference matchup of the week. The top 2 teams from the Big 12 last year both made the playoff. They'll face each other week 1. Then we'll also see number 1 Auburn face number 5 Miami, 2 national championship contender teams going at a rematch from their semifinal classic last season. Here are your week 0 scores. Texas Tech blew out Georgia State 41-11. Remember, the Raiders were runner-ups in the national championship just a few seasons ago. It's been a fall for grace for them, but that's a good start. Virginia knocks off their in-state opponent in Old Dominion 31-26. We see Arizona win a shootout in Hawaii 55-51. Over 100 points scored in the Aloha State. In the game of the week, Navy upsets Notre Dame. The Midshipmen get it done in South Bend 17-14. Here are your players of the week in week 0. Despite the loss, Eric Kirkendall had 3 sacks against Texas Tech. And then we see Sam Draft with 9 catches, 219 yards, and 3 touchdowns in that shootout in Hawaii. As far as the big games this week, we've already talked about all these: Auburn, Miami, Georgia, Cal, Texas, Pittsburgh, Utah, Kansas. A lot of big games in week number 1. As far as us, we will head to North Carolina to start the season in Chapel Hill. And this one is personal because they spoiled the start of our season last year in pretty emphatic fashion. This team just dominated us early. We were a national championship contender team, I thought, in my opinion. We came in preseason number 12, and they beat us in Columbia 38-21. Absolutely routed us. So revenge is on our mind. I do think we have a better team than North Carolina. They did win 9 games last year, but I think we have the better team. It all comes down to how we do a quarterback, ushering in a new era behind center. And we'll see how that starts with the North Carolina Tar Heels in Chapel Hill, the Carolina rivalry rematch that we have been looking forward to. But that'll be in the next episode. We'll get into week number 1 in year number 6 of the Dynasty. I'm excited for it. If you are, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.